Hello everyone. Today we are going to start the new topic of our biology, that is the nervous system. In that we have studied already the main parts of the nervous system. So mainly the human nervous system consists of two parts. It is divided into two parts. The first one is central nervous system and the second one is peripheral nervous system. So, central nervous system, this we are going to see first. In the central nervous system, it consists of mainly two parts. In the central nervous system, the two main parts are most important, that is spinal cord and brain. Okay, so now we are going to study about the brain. Now, what do you understand by brain? What exactly it consists? How are the functions done by the each part of the brain? That we are going to study now. Okay, so let us start with the brain. So, brain consists of three main parts. It is divided into three main parts, that is the cerebrum, the cerebellum and the medulla oblongata. Okay, so these are the three parts of the brain. So cerebrum is the main part of the brain, which is the largest portion of the brain. Cerebrum is present in the largest portion of the brain, and it is divided into again two parts, that is right and left halves, and it is known as a cerebral hemisphere. Okay, it consists of two halves, that is known as cerebral hemisphere. Now we are going to see the detailed information and about how it is constructed, mainly what it consists of. That we are going to see with the help of diagram. Here we can see the diagram of the median section of the brain. So their outer surface is folded with ridges and grooves. Each hemisphere is internally hollow, and the main part which you have to keep in mind, that is the inner portion of the cerebrum is mainly consist of axons, that is white matter, and the outer portion contains cell bodies of neurons, and it is known as a gray matter. It accommodates a large number of neurons, that is human cerebrum contains about 9 billion of neurons. Cerebrum is the seat of consciousness, willpower and intelligence, and it controls the voluntary activities. Now, next about cerebellum. Cerebellum is present under the cerebrum. It is much smaller than it, and it is mainly present under the cerebrum. And second most important thing about the cerebellum is that it functions whatever the activities of the body are there. For example, balancing the body, mostly it is functioning to balance the body, and second thing, it has the control on the muscular activities. Mostly cerebrum gives the idea to do the activity, but the implementation is done with the cerebellum. So if for example, if it is asked to stand up and walk, so the idea is given by the cerebrum, but it is implemented by the cerebellum. Means whatever the contraction and relaxation of the muscles is there, it will be controlled by whom? It will be controlled by cerebellum. So that is why an alcoholic person which is there, which has the alcohol in his body, it affects the cerebellum, and due to that his all the activities, body activities are not in the control. So that person is very much, we can say that he is not able to walk properly. The balance of the body is not there at all. So that is why alcohol is affecting the cerebellum, and doctors are preferring not to have it. Now, next is medulla oblongata. Medulla oblongata, it is the lowest part of the brain. It is situated in the lowest part of the brain, and mainly it is up to the spinal cord. Up to the spinal cord it is there. And second thing, its main function is to control the activities of the which are present, the organs which are present in the body. For example, heartbeats, then alimentary canal, then breathing. All these activities are under the control of the medulla oblongata. Most important thing is there, if any injury is there to the medulla, definitely the person may have the death. So that is why mostly the people are telling, if the any of the hammering is there on the brain near the oblongata, the person has the death. Now, the main functions of the spinal cord. So, the spinal cord's main function is to control the reflexes below the neck. Means whatever the reflexes are occurring, whatever the impulse it is getting from the neck, means from neck, whatever the part of the body is there, whatever the impulse it is getting respond from the spinal cord. Then to conduct messages from the skin and muscles to the brain, means whatever the messages it is getting from the muscles as well as from the skin, it is going through the spinal cord and towards the brain. So what is the function of spinal cord here? Means whatever the message or whatever the reflexes are there from the body, means below the neck, whatever it is there from that organ to the brain, it is providing the messages. So now third point, to conduct commands from brain to the muscles of the trunk and limbs. Means whatever the messages are there from, is whatever the command is given from the brain, it is provided to the muscles of the trunk and limbs. Then only the movement is there in the body. Means to conduct the message from the body to the brain, and again from brain to the body the message is given. So with the help of that, the body can move and easily the function of the body is done. So till here we have studied about the spinal cord. Now next we are going to see the next part, means which is divided of the nervous system, that is peripheral nervous system. So peripheral nervous system is nothing but it has the nerves which are connected to other parts of the body. So that is why its name is given as peripheral nervous system. So now let us have a look to the peripheral nervous system. So mainly it consists of two parts, that is somatic nervous system and autonomic nervous system. So in that, first we are going to study is about the somatic nervous system. Somatic nervous system, it again further consists of different types of the nerves. The two types of the nerves which are cranial nerves and spinal nerves. Now next is spinal nerves. Now spinal nerves, you can see the diagram in the spinal nerves. In that 31 pairs of the spinal nerves are present. Each pair will have the sensory nerve which will convey the message from the sensory organs. So here we can see the diagram of the spinal nerve, where you can see the 31 pairs of the nerves are present. Each pair will consist of sensory nerve. This is about the spinal nerve. The next one is autonomic nervous system. Autonomic nervous system, mainly it is present on the either side of the backbone. It is mainly consists of the pair of chain of the different nerves, and it is either side of the backbone. Its main function is to control the involuntary activities of the organs, or which are the organs which are present involuntary, they are working. For that it is responsible. And mainly the autonomic nervous system is working on the basis of sympathetic and parasympathetic system. So let us have a look for this, what is parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system. So how the sympathetic and parasympathetic system is working, let us have a look for the example and we will study. So whenever you feel the fear, during that fear, what are your different responses during the fear? What is your reflex action? That is controlled in this way. Means autonomic nervous system is responsible for this type of the actions. Now, the next topic which we are going to see is that nervous system works on the two bases, that is voluntary actions and involuntary actions. Now, what do you understand by voluntary actions? Means which are done by consciously, means knowingly we are doing that actions. For example, I want to study now. So what I will do? I will take the book and I will study. But again, one more example we will take for that. If you want to watch TV, what you will do? You will just press the button of the TV, then you will take the remote and put on the channel which you want to see. Then second thing, if you want to eat the apple, you will just take the apple and eat, right? So these are the voluntary actions which are under the control of your will. Okay. Then second point is there involuntary, means involuntary actions means what? Whatever the actions are done, means which are not according to your will, but all the actions are going through unknowingly or unconsciously. For example, if a particle goes into your eyes, any particle goes into your eyes, what happens? Suddenly the water, or we can say the tears are flushing out. The reason is what? Yes, do you know? The reason is that it has the some secretion over there, gland secretion is there. Due to that, the water is flushing out. Second, again one more thing, when accidentally you are touching to the iron, hot iron, so immediately you will remove your hand from there. What happens exactly? Muscular movement is seen there. So who is doing this? Involuntary actions, which some or the other way some nerves are present which are giving the message to you that you have to remove the hand. But are you willing to do that? No, unknowingly it is happening. So this is about the voluntary and involuntary actions. Now, the next very important topic is reflex action. What do you understand by reflex action? Reflex action is mainly involved with the spinal cord and the peripheral nervous system. Means whatever the actions are controlled, they are done with the help of the peripheral nervous system and spinal cord only. Without brain, whatever the response of the brain is there, means brain is mainly not involved in that. Only peripheral nervous system and spinal cord is present over there. For example, if you are pricked with the needle, or if any hot object, if you touch, what will happen? You will just remove the hand instantly. You will not think anything about that. You will just remove your hand instantly. The reason is that whatever the quick response is there, that is done with the help of the peripheral nervous system as well as spinal cord only, without reaching towards the brain. That is known as the reflex action. So what is the definition of the reflex action? Reflex action is the quick, immediate and automatic response to a stimulus without the involvement of the brain. There is no involvement of the brain. That is known as a reflex action. Now, the next we are going to see the reflex arc. Now, the next part which we are going to study is reflex arc. What do you understand by reflex arcs? It is nothing but the shortest pathway of the nerve impulse from the receptor to the effector, which makes a reflex action possible, is called a reflex arc. So, reflex arcs is mainly, it is the shortest path from the refractor to the effector, and then the impulse is created very fast, that is known as the reflex arc. Now, the next topic which we are going to see is the types of reflexes. So, what are the type of reflexes? First is natural, that is inborn reflex. The next is conditional reflex. So, first one, natural reflex. For this, there is no experience or no learning is required. Means these all are inborn activities. For example, sneezing, coughing. So these are all protective reactions which are shown by the body. So let us have a look to this picture. You can understand a small baby is there where is showing the natural reflexes. The next is conditional reflexing. Now conditional reflexing means what? It occurs due to the experiences or learning from the life. For example, if you are becoming hungry and if any tasty food is there in front of you, and if you see that tasty food, what you will feel? You will feel watery in the mouth. So now, at last of these lessons, there are the some terms mainly involved in the nervous system are stimulus, response, impulse, receptors, and effector. These are the terms mainly involved in that. So, the definitions of this you have to learn it by heart properly and go through it and write to. So, this was about our seventh lesson, that is nervous system. Go through the lesson and every day try to read the each part of the lesson and make it clear. So, next time we'll see the next lesson. Till then, have a nice day. Thank you.